Hello there, my loves, and welcome once more to my little corner of this wizarding hovel I call home. Today we have some wonderful books, some gifts, and some recommendations. That's all we're dealing with today. A mixed bag in terms of genre. Got some science fiction, we've got some historical fiction, maybe even a bit of fantasy. There will be, don't worry. Okay, the bells will be chiming shortly. I've told them to start once we've begun recording, obviously. We have the satanic mushrooms, we have the satanic candle, and once again, my tipple of choice for today is a bit of Bishop's Finger. Or Bishop's Finger Blast, if you prefer. There we are. Let's get that little fucker off. Oh, there we go. They've got the message. I can fuck off. Right, let's have a little... Yes, it's an old dependable favourite, is the old Bishop's Finger. You just don't want it up here. Anyway, right, let's begin. Before we begin, actually, you might notice it's a slightly different setup. I've rejigged the room. You might have seen on a previous video, but my great big easel is over there. I used to have that in the corner. But it was taking up too much room and I think it was fucking up my hips. So I've moved it all around and now I've rejigged it, so to speak. So anyway, you get the idea. Let's turf out the first book and stop fucking around. Right, so the first three books are from my dear brother, Mark the Blade. And periodically he'll go out into the wilderness and fish out some lovely books for me based on the cover. He's another... glutton for punishment where covers are concerned, but he picks some absolute beauties, and this one here is Underkill, a new full-length novel by James White. Now, the first thing that jumps out at us is this looks like a Foss cover. It looks Foss-ish, but I think it's probably a Foss wannabe. Yeah, it's a Corgi. This one's published by Corgi. Right, UK 95p, so late 80s perhaps. No idea what this is about. Let's read the blurb. Why not? It began in hospital, the incredible trail of clues which led to the discovery of the invasion of Earth. That sounds good. Underkill. Normally, the socio-political problems of the outside world did not concern Dr. Malcolm and his wife, safely cocooned in their hospital work, but it was their misfortune to be on duty the night the three patients were admitted to the intensive care unit. A small boy, a beautiful girl, and an old man, all close to death, all victims of a diseased society. Underkill. Malcolm's investigations revealed a further link between the three, one of which involved the medics with an all-powerful police force and took them to the subsurface city of Pleasant, the centre of an extraterrestrial conspiracy of super-elite beings dedicated to curing the terminal illnesses of the planet Earth. Well, that sounds interesting. Goodness. Right, yeah, I would actually read that. So, well done, Mark. The first one you've picked is a beauty, I would say. Perhaps, potentially. Okay, we have a pencil daubing here of £3. Interesting. Otherwise, not bad condition here. Sorry, I keep having a look over here to make sure I'm centred. Normally the screen is more in my eye line, but... it's one of the drawbacks of the new setup. Okay, 1979. I was well off on the time there. So published on the year of our Saviour's birth. John, that's me. John Chapman. Just so happens to be the same initials of Jesus Christ. No relation whatsoever. In fact, I could very well be the absolute opposite. But I have a kind heart, I think you'll agree. Potentially. Okay, we've got some ancient dust in the back crease there, but nothing to worry about. Anyway, cast your eyes over this cover. Now I'm going to tentatively sniff the fucker. Now, ever since I stopped sniffing books, I've not had a single chest infection, so I'm not going to bury my nose deep. I'm just going to do a kind of wafting. Yes. Wood! Yes, it's wood. lovely to kick off with a bit of wood. It's thirsty work. This very thirsty. It's quite warm in here. Hence the tropical shirt I'm wearing to get into the spirit of things. Okay, here's the next one. We've got Piers Anthony's Worlds of Chiffon. Soma, or Soma, probably Soma, don't know, by Charles Platt. Well, Charles Platt, Piers Anthony, okay, I don't understand. So Piers Anthony or Charles Platt? I'm not sure. But what the hell is going on with this cover? So this is definitely, this has been picked by my brother because it is quite incredible. I mean, we've got look at this naked warrior here, baring his teeth, holding aloft a severed head. So he's managed to sever it quite neatly, and the young lady's hair is still quite nicely styled. Her naked body is on the floor. They're in quite a comfortable reclining position. And look at that fucking great sword. Luckily, it's obscuring his genitalia, else it wouldn't be allowed. But I quite like that. I would have bought that too, Mark. Okay, the spine is borderline immaculate. I would say no one's ever read this. There's a grey pube. I don't know if you can see that there. No, hopefully it's not a pube. So what are we dealing with here? £3.50 in the United Kingdom. This could be late 80s to the early 90s. Who knows? Right, I'm going to read this. You may not be able to see it because my camera is shite. Your pain is my pleasure! ! The genetic trap had condemned Anton 5 to a tortured existence, half standard human and a half mutant descendant of the forbidden Midianites, to whom hatred and sexual cruelty were the very breath of life. Aton fought against his own instincts to win a place for himself among normal humankind, yet both more or less than human, he fell easy prey to an unseen foe. Can you make any sense of that? I can. Imprisoned on Chiffon, the world he mistakenly thought he had freed permanently from its reign of terror, Aton was forced by his captors into a training program calculated to turn him into the ultimate tool of unreasoning destruction. But even his tyrannical master didn't understand just how deadly a weapon Aton was becoming, for they themselves were enslaved by a higher power, an intelligence sworn to transform Aton into the betrayer of all living things. So it's definitely by Charles Platt. I don't know what the Piers Anthony thing is. Two original... Okay, so this is a continuation of Piers Anthony's work of this Worlds of Chiffon. So, anyone read this? I mean, is this a better or lesser version of that? I haven't read any of it. In fact, I've never read any Piers Anthony. Anyway, cast your eyes over that cover. Don't dally too long on the gratuitousness of it. Wait a minute, I haven't even gone inside yet. What am I doing? Right, come on, fucking hell. Right, we've got a bloody stamp here right in the beginning here. Swan's Bookshop, 6 Tooting Market, Tooting High Street, London. Well, I'll be darned. I do like seeing a stamp. And so when this was stamped, there's some bleeding there. It was done hastily, I would say. They closed the book also in haste, and there's been some bleeding on the other side. So there we are, a little bit of archaeology there. And what's this? Is that a worm cast or what? Oh my goodness. Ugh. I don't know what that was, but it came off with some tendrils attached. Okay, 1990. Okay, so I was okay there with that summation. Okay, otherwise, are there any secrets in here? I haven't riffled through any of these, so there could be. Is there fuck? Nothing. Okay. Right, now you can cast your eyes over that naughty cover, and I'm going to smell it. Sniff it. Oh man, I can't get this. Oh, I'm going to have to go in. Oh. Cream. Clotted cream. If it was fashioned from wood. Yes, wooden cream. Creamy wood. Creamy wood. Oh dear. Oh, that's delicious. Quick puff on the pipe. Oh, look at this one. Okay, so for the third and final offering from Mark, my brother, check out this bastard. Candyman by Vincent King. Now that's quite a cover, isn't it? Now, my first impressions when I first saw this was this could potentially be a story about an intergalactic paedophile, hence the title Candyman, and the rather suspicious looking fellow cavorting about with rockets attached to his nether regions. Yes, and his, I don't know, I was going to call it a robot dog, but it seems to be in a harness of some kind. Anyway, it's completely bonkers. And the design continues on the other side as well. Nice colours, nice choice of colours, psychedelic almost. Nice little cottage and some fucker in the background there on some kind of device. Okay, published by Sphere. Oh, got an eyeball there. Interesting. The spine... Despite having a slight concavity to it, I don't think this has been read, but I could be wrong. Okay, inside we go, and again there's another pencil daubing there of £2.50. I'm not sure what my brother paid for these. Anyway, let's have a look at the publication. So 1973, this is quite an old one. Has anyone heard of this? I very much doubt it is about an intergalactic paedophile, but... it would probably help if I read the blurb, wouldn't it? Let's do that. Okay, here we go. Through the night-black, rotting girders of the sprawling, multi-level world city wanders the Candyman, sowing the seeds of revolution amongst the degenerating remnants of humanity, hunted by the death-dealing teachers, the callous followers of the all-powerful machine. The Candyman pursues his lonely struggle for individuality in a brainwashed, machine-run world. Okay, this is by the Liverpool Daily Post here. A kaleidoscope nightmare in which the ground shifts nastily or vanishes altogether. One twist after another hints at the horrible world in which the Candyman seeks his nature. Name and purpose. Hang on to your hat and sanity alike during this memorable ride. Okay. Does sound like a rip-roaring adventure. But inside, yeah, nothing, no secrets. But in very good condition for 1973. Anyway, cast your eyes over that. And I will tentatively dip my nose inside. Ah, right, okay. Yeah. It's biscuit, but a very dry biscuit. It's quite arid inside, but it could be because I had a nosebleed earlier, and not through sniffing books, I might add, but my nose is picking up an arid aroma. Moving on. Christ. Okay, so the next 5 books are all recommendations. So the other day when I did a video about the hip problem I had, I said I was going through a bit of a glut in terms of bad books or books that I wasn't enjoying. And so 5 of you reached out and recommended books to me. So here we go, let's turf them out. Now the first one was recommended by the regular to the channel, Copper. I don't know his real name, but Copper will do. And he recommended The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I've already started reading this. In fact, I've almost finished The Devil. So look at that. I'm right near the end. So this is the only fantasy that we have today, but it's an absolute beauty. I haven't read much fantasy since since I was a young man, really. Raymond E. Feist, Tolkien, primarily a bit of Gemmell. I might have dabbled here and there with other things, but this one, I've heard of Joe Abercrombie, but never read him. And it's incredibly good. I'm going to review this soon, so I'm not going to say too much about it. The only thing I will say is that of a book this kind of size, look what I'm doing there. I'm turning over the pages, and so each of these notches signify a day. So that's how many days it's taken me to read this. So I've always been, a lot of you already know, I struggled as a reader when I was as a child and into my teenage years for various reasons. And so I remember the very first time I was able to finish a book, I felt amazing for doing it. It was like a mission complete, an impossible mission, something I would never ever achieve. And I still get that buzz whenever I finish a book. But I always feel daunted when I come across a big bugger like this. So what I like to do is register my progress, just to give myself some encouragement to see it through to the end, despite the fact that I don't need any encouragement whatsoever because it's such a brilliant book. But anyway, we'll get to that. I won't do the blurb. I'll just surmise it by saying that primarily this is a book that shifts between 3 different perspectives initially. It does add another one later on. But we have the exploits of this barbarian chap here, Luther. We have probably pronounced that wrong. Let's just do the blurb. Yeah, Logan, 9 fingers. He's missing a finger. A great big brute of a barbarian. Not dissimilar to Conan, perhaps, but far more introspective and thoughtful. So we encounter him in his later days, really, after he's had quite a hellish life carving people up. Then we also follow Captain Jezel Dan Luther. That's where I was getting mixed up. He's a swashbuckling young captain in the capital of this union. And, excuse me. He's a bit of a prat, really, a bit of a twat as well. But I think there's going to be a redemptive arc for him later on. And we also have Inquisitor Glockter, who's a crippled former champion swordsman who's since been crippled through his time being tortured by these enemies, enemy nation. Really, really great characters. And it's really building to be a wonderful story. So I won't say too much more about that. And I won't really delve too much into the book because, I've read the bugger pretty much. I will give it one little sniff whilst you have a look at the cover. Incidentally, I picked the one cover that had a figure on the front. I really did like this cover. A lot of the other ones resemble like old parchment, but not very appealing, really. The only other thing I would say is, though, there's no map in the beginning, and it's crying out for a map. Maps do exist, and I believe they probably exist in other versions or other publications of this book, but not this one, unfortunately. Of course. I hardly need to sniff that. It smells of wood. Yeah. Nice bit of wood. Oh, it's wood heavy today. I'm starting to get really hot now. Bear with me. Okay. Next book. So this one, Freaky Deaky, was recommended to me by Nerky Nelson. Thank you very much for doing that. I don't know anything about this whatsoever, so this is going to be quite an adventure. By Elmore, Leonard. The cover, I don't actually like this cover. The one I thought I was buying had quite an interesting cover on it. But it's one of those things we buy off eBay. They have stock imagery and you don't really know what you're getting. The spine has some light damage to it. It should be this dark here. It's gone slightly bluish, unfortunately. The cover, the spine has been crinkled, which means it's been read, which is a good sign. And on the back here we have a lovely this is probably one of the best author photographs I've ever seen. Isn't that wonderful? Side profile. We've got a wonderful sunset in the background, palm tree, and he's got his typewriter on his lap there. Wonderful. I'll have to do one like that one day, hopefully. So yeah, I think it's a form of crime fiction, perhaps, but I don't really know. Anyway, let's have a look inside. Okay, so someone scrawled their name in the front there. Gallagher. Gallagher? One of the Gallagher twins of Oasis fame, perhaps? Again, £1.20 in pencil. Excuse me. About the author there, I won't bother reading that. But I think I remember seeing on the product page that this was a form of crime fiction, but not as you know it. Slightly different, perhaps. Who knows? Anyway, let me know if you've read that and what you think of it. I mean, Nerky Nelson recommended it. I think he thinks it's pretty good. Yeah, I wouldn't dally too long on that front cover. There's not much to see. I'll show you the back instead. Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah. Wood. Nothing special at all. Well, wood is special, obviously, but I'm slightly worried now I'm going to get a chest infection. It's nothing to do with the vape. Anyway, right, 3 left to go. Ooh, hello there. Got a good one coming up. So this book specifically wasn't recommended to me. This is Christian we're talking about here, or Christoph, regular to the channel. He said he was reading some Zelazny, and I thought, yeah, that's a good shout. Because the only thing I've tried in the past is Lord of Light, and I didn't get on with it. So I went with this Immortal. And there were lots of copies available of this. Cheaper ones, but I went for this one. It's one of the most expensive copies there. I don't normally do that, but I loved this image. Looks to me like what's it called? Austin Powers, perhaps. Shall we shag now or shall we shag later? That kind of thing. But I think this harks from the late 60s, so I think it's a really nice image. The colours are wonderful. I mean, it's something that it looks quite modern, I think. I don't know what these round things are. Maybe bullets or something? I don't know. Unfortunately, the only thing that gets in the way is some heathen in the past has put 8 pence there in biro. I'm not going to be able to get that off, unfortunately. Anyway, it's a panther edition. Spine is both concave and crinkled, which is always a good sign. It means someone's read the damn thing. And the back is fairly weathered. Okay, United Kingdom, 5 pence. So this is very old indeed. Okay, so there's a tiny bit of blurb. Let's just read that. Had he lived for centuries? Had he once been liberator of the earth who had fought the vegan Star Empire? Vegan, probably referencing the Star Vega rather than the vegans that we all know and love today. You might know. I'm not vegan myself, but I know. But anyway, there we are. Now the onslaught resumes to determine forever Earth's place in the universe. Don't mess with vegans. I'm not one myself, and I never will be. But yeah, you have to be careful. Vegans can be dangerous. I'm going to get some hell for that. Anyway, right, let's see what it says in the front. This book belongs to Dave L. Catlin. Look at that. He had his own little... It looks like the typesetting is a little bit wonky, so maybe I remember having one of these as a child where you put your own little letters on into your little stamp and then you stamp it in. So he was really proud of this book. And then in biro here, we've got meme or mum or maybe mum. Maybe Dave's mother bought this for him. And just in case you you missed the first page, he's stamped it again there for good measure. That's a far better imprint there. Yeah, he fucked that bit up on the front there, but there we are. I don't mind that. I love little things like that, marking my books. So this harks from 1968. So yeah, pretty old, pretty damn old. But otherwise in pretty tip-top condition. Yeah, nothing, no secrets. Dave didn't leave us any secrets in there, unfortunately. But anyway, cast your eyes over Austin's head there, and I'm going to have a very tentative sniff of this ancient book. Ooh, This is potent. Ooh. It's wood, obviously, but it's got that school disinfectant smell. It's probably must, I suppose, but it's quite potent at the same time. The satanic candles. The satanic candles struggling there. Come on, let's pour a bit of the juice out. It's better. It's more like it. I just had to check then that I was recording. Bloody thing. Okay, so the next one, is a Robert Heinlein, To Sail Beyond the Sunset. Okay, so this was recommended to me by Stephen Newton. And this was back when I reviewed The Moon's the Harsh Mistress. He weighed in and said you should check out some of his later work where, to quote this Nerky, not Nerky, sorry, I've got the names here because my mind is mush. Where are you, Heinlein? Yeah, Stephen. To quote Stephen, in his later years he wrote kind of dirty old man stuff. Erotica perhaps, potentially, but he said there's not too much going on in the description, so it's not too sordid. However, this appears to be about a time-travelling young woman who goes around shagging everyone in sight, including her time-travelling son, for good measure. There's no blurb there, so you're just going to have to go on what Stephen told me in the comments. So yeah, multi-dimensional epic by the best-selling grandmaster of science fiction. Yeah, that, incidentally, going back to that review I did of Moon's Harsh Mistress, it caused a lot of, bit of a stir amongst stalwart Heinlein fans, because I kind of panned it a bit, because I didn't really like it. But the last comment I had recently was some chap saying, you're obviously not a fan of science fiction if you've never read any Heinlein, you fucker. He didn't say you fucker, but you could feel his wrath. I thought that was a bit unfair to say that because I read all kinds of stuff, in my formative years. I just didn't happen to read any Heinlein. And when I did read one, I didn't like it, so I think I did the right thing. Okay, so this is a second reprint from 1990. Okay, this is dedicated to little girls and butterflies and kittens, amongst some other people there. Okay, so perhaps soft-core erotica, perhaps? Oh, Christ. This bishop's fingers playing me havoc. Excuse me. Okay, check out that cover. It's quite a splendid cover. Who's it by? Cover illustration by Jerry Grace. Okay, I'm not familiar with his work, but it's rather nice. Yeah, okay, have a look at that. Let's have a little sniff. Okay. Well, I've got an idea about this one. It just popped into my head then. It's like you get those welcome mats. I don't know what they're made of. Kind of harsh, bristly material. And if it's in the sun and you get an aroma baking off it, it smells of that. I don't know what that is. Anyway. One last go. Once more into the breach, dear fellows. Okay, Robert Harris's Imperium. So, this was recommended by someone called Grano Spadano. So it's a made-up name, obviously. But thank you very much for this recommendation. Said he had read it recently and really liked it. I've only read one of his books before, Robert Harris. It's kind of set in Roman times. And I read a book about the fall of Pompeii and the Mount Vesuvius and all of that. And I really did like that. It really brought it home to you how horrible that situation would have been. Especially, the thing that sticks in my mind is all the pumice that was falling into the sea. And people drowning in the sea because they weren't able to swim with all this lightweight pumice stone floating in the water. Very interesting indeed. But anyway, Imperium. I don't know anything about it. more of a political story about politics, I imagine. Anyway, let's have a look. In the deadly game of power, one man will risk it all. While ancient Rome teems with ambitious and ruthless men, none is more brilliant than Marcus Cicero. I've heard of him. A rising young lawyer backed by a shrewd wife, he decides to gamble everything on one of the most dramatic courtroom battles of all time. Win it and he could win control of Rome itself. Lose it and he is finished forever. Interesting. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, it's part of a trilogy, so I've only got the first part here, but I will, if I enjoy it, I will venture out and get the other two parts. Anyone else read any of Harris? Okay, so this is a very recent copy. This is 2007. I don't know when it was first published. Oh no, mine's 2016, so it would have been first published in 2006, so 10 years ago, 10 years before this. And we've got some wonderful little maps here, isn't that lovely? Republican Rome. Oh, one map. Okay, look at this. Author's note. Although Imperium is a novel, the majority of the events it describes did actually happen. The remainder at least could have happened, and nothing, I hope, hostage to fortune, this demonstrably did not happen. Okay, there we are. Yeah, I remember the one I read, Pompeii, was very well researched. It seemed very authentic and very well written. Anyway, there we are. Cast your eyes over that just briefly. There's not a great deal there to see. I mean, it's got a marble background with an eagle brand gripping some kind of lightning bolts, I suppose. Well, I'll have a good sniff of this. So this is very recent, 2016. We're not going to get a great deal out of this. Ugh. Okay, yeah, I know what this is. Oh, do I? It smells like food, but with a rubber kind of smell. So I'm going to say a used condom. Yes, it smells dodgy. But anyway, there we are. That's today's assortment. Yes, let's leave it there. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know whether many people watch these. I don't know. I do get comments, but I'm not sure if anyone ever watches them to the end. I'm not quite sure. Let me know if you do. If you've got this far, that would be nice. But anyway, I enjoy doing these. It's a nice little moment of reflection and a chance to drink an ale midweek, which I wouldn't normally do. Okay. Right, let's leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time when I'll be reviewing The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Look forward to that, I'm sure you will. For the cover, by the way, for the thumbnail, I'm hoping to transform myself into a barbarian. So you're going to see me topless, if all goes well, and you can check out my nipples. Anyway, let's leave it there. Cheerio.